Vishal. Great having you, and thanks for coming in. Talk to us about the pharma basket in Q3. I mean, outside Sun, outside Cipla, which was a bit of a miss, we largely saw a very good tilt, especially towards domestic. Can that continue, in your opinion, maybe another quarter or two?
Yeah. Hi, good morning. So I think the quarter is probably a transition quarter for the companies. And probably like if I look at the US business where there is more of transition going on, so probably the high value products coming out of the base and the base is normalizing. So this was a transition quarter and some companies could do better than expected numbers on the US front. And there was currency tailwinds too. So, but if you look at the business, the pharma sector structurally, India probably is a structural growth 8 to 12% for most companies, while US probably should move downwards. And I think there can be significant downside for some companies. If you look at maybe next 2-3 years, there can be a meaningful downside from current levels. So structurally, if I look at the sector, it's broadly the revenue growth broadly should be around 5% for most names, and select names can grow high single digit to mid-teens. So when I say select names, I primarily kind of would look at Sun Pharma in terms of growing the fastest among the large cap names.
Understood. Vishal, you don't particularly seem constructive. One of that reason is the US, is what you highlight.
Yes.
And the underlying growth not being strong enough. Talk to us about what the semaglutide opportunity could well be, because could that aid the growth number at all? Could it surprise on the upside? I'm trying to get to what could the possible downside risk to your opinion be?
Right. I think so. There are two parts to the semaglutide opportunity. One is the India and emerging market piece, and the second is the regulated market piece, wherein we have Canada and Brazil. The regulated market piece, Canada and Brazil can be large upfront, but it will eventually diminish over the next 2-3 years. And the challenge there is whether or not we'll have the approval coming in as we are expecting. So we are all expecting an approval coming in early FY27. Probably Dr. Reddy's would be the one that gets the approval earlier than others. But my sense is we should be prepared for delays here. These delays can even extend up to 12 months from. So maybe it could also go into FY28, the first approval. So there is uncertainty around the regulated market piece. While if I look at the branded market piece, branded market opportunity for semaglutide, India and emerging markets, I think there we'll see the opportunity growing structurally every year. And in my view, this could probably be more than around 10,000 crores in incremental sales, wherein the innovator will also participate and the generic companies will also participate.
Okay. And Vishal, with regard to the US, talk to us about whether these headwinds will likely sustain in your opinion, because that's what I think you seem to be building in, and what could lead to a reversal, and what would those initial signs be? Because if that were to reverse, you could start to see upsides, you reckon?
So I think the only thing that can go positive in the US is pricing improving from where it is because of some demand supply issues that may come up in the future. But otherwise, US structurally is a zero growth market. Like if you look at the volumes in the US, the volumes are not growing in the US. They are probably growing 0 to 1%. So there is not too much of opportunity in terms of the volumes. Whatever opportunity we would get to see would be the complex generics that we come through. But then all of these opportunities are not very long lived. You might have these opportunities on the numbers for 1 year, 2 years, like we had Revlimid for the last 3-4 years. Now it is going off. Companies might be able to get another one replacing Revlimid, but it's not going to help them grow in the US. They might only at best be able to replace Revlimid in the base. And then, so that's the best case, replacing Revlimid. But growing on top of that would be a challenge for most names. I think Cipla is one company that can potentially grow on top of Revlimid, but they need to get the approvals in place.
Okay. Vishal, talk to us about who the winners from semaglutide could well be, because very quickly, come March, you'll start to, this entire theme will start to unwind. Who do you believe the winners could be? Because there are going to be several participants on this this particular pitch.
I think those with an existing large presence in the diabetes injectable space or the diabetes space and have a very strong brand reputation. So obviously Sun would figure in there, but maybe Dr. Reddy's too, because they have been kind of putting in a lot of efforts to get into this category. And I'm sure they would have also alongside built promotional efforts, sales force effort. So it is yet to reflect because they are yet to launch the drug. But I think Sun for sure should be one of the larger beneficiaries. Eris Lifesciences, that's a smaller name, but a large that company has a large presence in the diabetes space. So if they are able to launch in the first wave, Eris, that can carve a meaningful share of the overall semaglutide pie. Lupin is also a meaningful contender because their diabetes presence is also decent. So these are the names I think should do well in the semaglutide space. The smaller names might find it difficult to capture a meaningful market share, and I think this market would largely remain concentrated. Innovator probably taking bulk of the market, and then the branded generics market should probably be divided between 3 or 4 players.
Vishal, your favorites within the pack, how would you rate them, and what's the kind of upside potential that you're seeing, especially on the top 2, 3?
So Sun and Cipla are my top picks. Sun is where I think there is which is a structural growth company, like anywhere between 9 to 15%, depending on how their specialty assets unfold in terms of sales. Cipla, I think they have a durable. So they have a portfolio of complex generics. If all of them reach the market as we are expecting, maybe in the next 12 to 15 months, then probably they can grow even in the US. So US is a challenge across companies, but if they get that complex generic basket right on market, they probably should grow in the US also. So these would be the preferred names. And the valuation as well is comforting in case of Cipla.
Okay, interesting. Sun Pharma, Cipla, that seems like the top bets, at least when it comes to the GLP-1 opportunity. But great to have you, Vishal, on the show. Thanks for your time.